So, Suvi, how would the world be without advertising?
I'll be without a job to start with. It'll be very boring, isn't it? Imagine you consuming tons of content every day without any break. Advertising actually runs your media channels, right? They rely on advertising support to kind of give you more information as a consumer, right? We won't know what to choose, right? What advertising does is creates that awareness of a certain brand. It also tells you what are the attributes or how is this brand different than the rest.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of CAG's podcast season 2. And I am in conversation with Mr. Suvi, a giant in the field of advertising. In his various roles as general manager and managing director at Zenith, which is a part of Publicis, he has ensured that the company reaches its greatest height through his sheer determination, perseverance, and his commitment towards strategizing and innovation. As a result, he was considered as one of the 100 most powerful Indians by Gulf Cooperation. And not only that, he has been a part of the panel of judges for most of the global media awards. Most importantly, he is a proud alumnus of Children's Academy, batch 1988. A warm welcome to you, Suvi.
Thank you. Well, that was a lot. I never knew all that happened in so many years and nobody's actually introduced me. So thank you so much, and having me here, it's a privilege. Although I keep coming to the school, but this is probably the first time I'm coming in this capacity. So very excited about that.
Continuing with our conversation, you mentioned how you were surrounded by friends and how despite everything there was a struggle, and later on you found your footing. Right now, our students are in this Insta world and they want to taste instant success. What is the advice that you would like to give our students in terms of struggles that they may face in life, and how did you yourself face those struggles?
Well, obviously you start with, right? Nothing is instant. Success is never instant, right? Apart from an instant coffee. Even Maggie is not done in 2 minutes, which is a very misleading advertising slogan, I would say. But I think I would draw from more of what I went through, right? I think that's kind of put a basis of where I've achieved so far. So I think I would call that more as challenges than actually struggles, right? So I worked in India for a year and a half in an agency, as I mentioned last, that I started off in the media. Then I moved to Dubai in 97. So that's where you kind of look at the whole challenges coming in, right? So number one, in India, the language of business was largely Hindi, right? You move from that situation to a completely new country where number one, the language of business is only English, right? This was the first time I actually traveled outside India, so I'm in a new country, new environment with different cultures that I was working in. So I was fortunate to get into one of the world's famous creative agency called Saatchi & Saatchi, which is again part of the Publicis group. And I was recruited for the specialized media unit that they're just going to create because of a global win that they had. So I was the first recruit on Zenith in the Middle East, for that fact. So I was there with different cultures in a multinational environment, with working on big multinational clients, global clients. So it was quite challenging when you kind of look at that, coming from a situation where you are in this, I would say, a bubble or a well, and thrown into a situation where everything becomes your world, right? So I think most importantly was kind of also managing accents over there as well. So typically your accent is very Indian, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong in it, but it's a very Indian accent. So you go there, suddenly you have Saatchi & Saatchi is largely a Brit-run agency. So you had all the Brits coming in and talking with that accent, and it was pretty difficult to kind of have, even though you're talking, it's very difficult to get those accents. But then, funny incident, right? So talking about accent, we had Caroline working with us, and she's Scottish, and Scots have the thickest accent and you can't really understand. So very early days, she would come and, hi, and come and talk to me. I would run away because I won't know what to say. And first of all, I wouldn't understand what she was saying, and I didn't get, and I wouldn't have any answer. Most of the time, I would just have a wide smile on my face, and I don't know what I said or what I heard. But over a period of time, you kind of started understanding these nuances, or understanding to live with different cultures, different mindsets, and adapting to that. And I think reached a stage where I was having comfortable discussions with everyone, and working with different cultures. We had people from Europe, from Asia, from the Middle East, having different sensibilities as well. So working with that was pretty interesting. It was challenging at the beginning, but kind of you adapt and then you start learning from it. And I just went on with it and got pretty comfortable with that, actually.
This is so important that you mentioned what you mentioned right now. The world has become a global village now. It's very important that we have that kind of intercultural understanding. Absolutely. And from your conversation, I could really understand that you went with an open mind. You were ready to accept differences, and you were ready to persevere and change and adapt to the changing world, which is so very relevant even to our present times and for our younger generation. Every student is always raring to grow up and start his career. How were you when you were in your early 20s and you stepped into this world of advertising?
Like, I guess most of the students at my time, I think I was very clueless before I went into advertising. Just happened by chance. My family is in the diamond business, so naturally my parents wanted me to kind of take over the business. And as part of the induction, they put me into the diamond polishing unit for a year. And I think a few months down the line, I realized I wasn't cut out for that, So, and then I went and told my parents that I don't want to do this. So they asked me, what is it that you want to do? And I had no answers, right? So before I actually did advertising, I did quite a few things before I actually stumbled into advertising. So I thought I was creative. So I went and joined a digital arts course in CorelDRAW those days. So I did that. While I was doing my induction to the business, I was also a private tutor. I wanted to join the army at one point, and I secretly wrote a letter to the institute in the school at the Khadakwasla. I got a response saying this is what you need to do, and I went back to my parents and said this is what I wanted to do. Obviously they didn't allow me to do that. I also wanted to be in merchant navy as well, and obviously again my parents refused to do that. So I didn't know what I wanted to do, honestly, right? I went and kind of explored a lot of these things. I spoke to Rohit, and he said, why don't you speak to Dinu, Rohila's husband. And he had just come back from his international stint. I said it could be a good source to kind of talk, and understand a bit more about what are the options out there. And then I went with him thinking I want to be a fashion designer. So I said, hey, let's do fashion design. I had absolutely no clue about fashion designing to start with. The only designer that I actually knew who was in the industry was Rohit Bal at that time. So I went to him. Then I asked him, listen, hey, I want to be a fashion designer. What do you think, and how do I go about doing this? So he gave me a very good piece of advice, actually, which I still remember. He said, if you want to do something in fashion designing, you better do this from an institute in Milan or Paris, right? Or you end up being a tailor at Elko Market. So that completely shattered my dreams. I said, oh my God, my parents will never sponsor me to go to Paris or to Italy. So dream shattered. I'm back to square one. I don't know what I wanted to do. Then we were again discussing, me and Rohit were discussing, and what could be another way of looking at career options. So he recommended I speak to Horace, his friend from college days. I'm somebody I knew from my college days as well. He had just joined advertising, and he was a copywriter. So he said, have a word with him to see what something can come out of it. So I spoke to him, and he said it's an interesting industry, you might like it. Asked him, how do you go about doing this? He said there is a course at Xavier's that you might want to kind of check out. Maybe after that you can look at it. So I went to Xavier's, and by the time I reached there, they had finished their admissions. So they recommended that I go to KC and try out. So I went to KC at that time, and when I did my first interview, right, it was more of a purpose statement. Why do you want to get into advertising kind of thing. So I did that. And I came back and I thought it was one of those things, we'll figure it out, we'll see what happens. And I think 2 days down the line, I got a call at home saying, hey, listen, we've cleared your admission and come and pay the fees. That's the first time I actually broke the news to my parents as well, that I've done something like this and I need the money to pay the fees. And obviously, there was a bit of a struggle, and they finally agreed to that, and I went and paid the fees. So that was my first intro into the theory side of advertising, right? So while I was studying, I got into a job, and I started my career as a client servicing in the advertising, right? So then I got a job. I was absolutely loving it, right? This is me going around South Mumbai in taxis, doing client meetings, organizing press conferences, coming back and briefing the creative guys, staying back in the office pretty late, ordering dinner at the office, all company expenses paid, and obviously there was a lot of work, right? So there were days where I used to come back very early in the morning and then go back as well. But I thought it was a completely newfound freedom for me. And then obviously we had this evening parties. Those days, the Times of India used to do a lot of these parties, and the other magazines, I think the Stardust and all those used to do this magazine. So we used to go to those parties, and you just hang around with the who's who of the industry. I said, this is it. This is what I wanted to live my life, the glamour bit, and I absolutely loved it. So I quit that job towards the end of my course, wanted to focus on my final exams, did that, and I started working in another agency, but this time on the media side. I started the media side and somehow kind of loved it. So I've got stuck with the media side. So that's my story to it. I just stumbled upon it, actually.
So our students will actually relate with your entire story, because there are times when they are clueless.
It was interesting, yeah. As you rightly said, there were no counseling those days, right? I think, and I would say the same thing to everyone today as well. Even though there's a lot of counseling, it's about finding what makes you tick, right? So I think it's just about asking around, having mentors, speaking to a lot of people. I was lucky to kind of have a lot of people that I could talk to and do that bit as well. So yeah, finally got what I wanted.
So you're surrounded by people who supported you.
Absolutely.
School plays a pivotal role in every student's life. You spoke about your struggles. Did the school help you in any way mold your life?
Absolutely. Listen, whatever that I have or whatever I have become is because of the foundation that was laid in the school, right? Subconsciously, there are a lot of things that is embedded in you when you're growing up, right? There are a lot of soft skill, life skills that you learn. I think whatever I am today is because of what has happened in the school. It's not trying to retrofit back, but when you think back and you realize, how does anybody for that matter have achieved something? Because they obviously learned something from the school. Because post school you stop learning. That's a fact, right? You just kind of do many more other things, academically focused. But that 10 years at the school is what is making you as a person, making you ready for the next 50 years for that matter, right? So yes, of course, everything happened because of the school. And I have few incidents or few, let's say, people who have actually have had a lasting impact on my life. The very early memories is of Patsa. I remember this was in the Good Luck school. So he used to come on the morning rounds usually at that time, and I had just got my marks from one of the unit tests, and I don't remember what paper this was, and I got the marks and I was pretty happy with it. I was not a bad student generally, so I had a pretty decent mark, and he came around and he just asked me what my mark was, and I very proudly, hey, this is what my mark is, and he wasn't too impressed, right? So he said, no, I'm sure you can do better, and he moved on to the next student. I was like very disappointed. I said, oh my God, what happened? This was a good score, and why did he not? Wasn't he happy with it? When you were upset at that particular point, but when you grow up, you realize what was the hidden message there. It was all about pushing your limits. Pushing your limits to kind of reach a place where you deserve to be, and you feel very nice about it. So it wasn't about just resting on your laurels there. You just kind of keep pushing. So I might have could have probably worked harder and scored that extra 2 marks. So that's something that kind of stayed with me. It was not about if I got something today, I would live with it. I would also always find a way of how do I kind of make it better. So that's something that stuck with me as well. The other person who had a very big impact on my life is late Bagresa. He was truly my first coach. When I say coach, is not from a sports perspective, generally overall, right? So I think we got together or work or collaborating together maybe from the 7th or the 8th grade. This is when you're just growing up. There's a lot of things that is happening in your life at that particular point, and I think he was somebody who could help me channel that into the right direction. So he was so invested in me. I was part of the school athletics team as well, so he used to push me into a lot of these school events and also into school events, and also pushed me to be part of the cultural events that happened in the school as well. So he would come to my place at 5:30 in the morning. I remember he used to have a YesD bike. I think he used to come in his bike at 5:30 in the morning, pick me up, go to the Ramlila Maidan, do 30 rounds of the ground and drop me back home. So just to make sure that I was fit, I had a good stamina, I had a good endurance to kind of participate. And also I think what helped me in this was I became much more disciplined in life. It was all about kind of having a very healthy body and mind thing. That's came in very early. I think it's all because of Bagresa as well. He was so much involved with me from a personality development as well, if I may say, because a lot of time my parents never allowed me to go on school trips. And he would ask me if you're going for the trip, and I would say no. And then he would come home and he would convince my parents why is it necessary for me to kind of go and have those experiences, for an overall development. It was just not about going out and having fun. It's just about seeing different things at that time, different places and having these experiences as well. So he did that, and I think that discipline, that focus on mind and body is something that I got instilled because of him, actually. So that was a big impact. I think last but not the least, I think it's I want to talk about Mukund sir. He's been the constant driving force in my life, post school as well. Again, I think as families we were close. My parents knew him very well, so I think he probably had that extra I wouldn't say attention, but I think more of, because I think he felt that he's part of the family, and that he did expect a lot from me and my brother. There are so many things you learn from him, right? Just the debena that he walks around. You don't need to be aggressive, you don't need to be shouting around, but just the very fact that he stands out there, he commands a lot of respect. I think that's something that I learned. You when you grow as a leader, you realize you don't need to be bossy, you don't need to be throwing a weight around, you can still kind of inspire and lead people. That's something that I learned. The other thing that I think I learned from him, I give an incident. I remember this very distinctly. So he was my English teacher, and so he used to generally ask a lot of general knowledge questions, and he would ask a question, I would raise my hand, and I would give a very one-line answer. Just to give an example, what's the capital of India? I would say Delhi. And then I would see a chalk flying right straight at me. In a sense, because not the answer, because it's not because I didn't give a right answer. It's because the way I said it, right? So he would tell me, it's not how you say. It's about you need to say that in a complete sentence. That what it taught me was the articulation bit. In terms of a response that you want to give, it's a much more. You need to have substance. You need to have much more thought through in your response to people, and that's actually helped me a lot in my career. Because in my line of work, I sell a lot of ideas, a lot of things that is not tangible for the client. So my job is to make sure they actually see it, visualize it, right? And if I don't talk much in details, visualize my whole consumers around and how a strategy works for them, it becomes very difficult. I think these are all these things I think you just learned, right? He just learned and he adapted. So yeah, I think I totally owe everything that I got because of the school.
You mentioned Mukundan sir. He continues to inspire us even
He
now.
does.
He's my daily source of inspiration. And also, you're fortunate that not teachers but gurus taught you.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, there were many actually. Hegre sir, Indira teacher, Aru teacher, Ahmed sir, Ali sir. I mean, I can name a lot. I mean, everyone had a mark in your life. For various reasons.
School is also about forging friendships. ये दोस्ती हम कभी नहीं तोड़ेंगे. That kind of friendships. So, do you recall any such kind of friendships that you have? Would you like to share?
Oh yeah. So I have a friend. I think he's the longest friend that I've had. His name is Himanshu. And as far as I remember, I think we've been together from the first grade. We were in the same class, and I think most of the time, I think we were almost on the same bench as well. So, we are very good friends today as well. So he's part of the family and all those kind of things. So yeah, that's something that I would cherish, and I would thank school for giving me Himanshu as well. I think, I mean, we were together in everything while growing up. We had a very sort of a healthy competition in terms of basically who would do better in studies, and he would always egg me up, and I would kind of go and say, hey, listen, if you scored well, less or whatever, how do we work? We would study together. He would check on each other's progress and all this kind of thing. So I think that's something that I would cherish a lot. I mean, there's one incident I remember. As I said, we'd always be sitting in the same bench as well. I think there was one incident. I think it was a grade 7 or 8 where he was given a different division. And he was sad that we were separated, and I think he just left his division and came and sat next to me in that division. I was like, go back, the teacher might get upset. He said, I don't care, I'm not going to leave this class, and he stayed, and nothing happened after that as well. So we were always seen together in the school, right? So if somebody would ask me, if they don't see Himanshu, they would ask me where is he, and the vice versa. So that's something that I got stuck with, and great memories of having him around in the school actually.
I'm sure Himanshu would be glad to hear this.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, we did college together as well. So till I kind of left in '97, we were almost seeing each other every day, and then obviously I'm back, and we spent quite a lot of time together now, talking about old days. Yeah.
I also know that you are very good friends with Mr. Rohit Bhatt, who's the CEO of Children's Academy Group of Schools. We are all waiting to hear more about your friendship.
Oh gosh. So Rohit is family, right? And we share a very emotional bond, and our families are families and all this kind of stuff, right? So I think our families before, like Rohit's, sir, and my dad, my parents, they were very close as well. As you know, probably, when Vatsa started the school, he was very involved with the parents as well. And we were neighbors, like growing up as well. In fact, Rohit is a year senior to me, and my brother was with him. And obviously that's how I knew him when he was in the school days. But we kind of grew stronger when we were in college. When we went to college, we both went to different colleges, but we used to hang around in the evening. And we used to hang around actually at the Good Luck building. There used to be a revolving gate, and we used to just sit around in the evening and kind of hang around there. Our WhatsApp group is also called Memories of Good Luck actually today. So great memories with him growing up actually. I mean, Rohan for that matter again. He's an elder brother, great mentor. You want to kind of go up to him if you have anything to talk about. Great support. Again, he's part of the gang. We hang out together and all this kind of thing. So yeah, great memories. I can spend a lot of time just talking about him. He's a different person of the school, I'm sure. He's known for his pranks, his mischievous side of things when he's out. So yeah, I mean, don't want to talk much about him, but yeah, I think that's what I mean. He means a lot to me.
We have seen the artistic side of
Yeah, he
Rohit
is,
sir.
yeah.
So not so much so of the prankster side of him.
Yeah, I think art is something that he had with him for a very long time. I think it's just during the COVID that he started picking up brush. But I must say, growing up, I think during his very early school days, he was actually a Bharatanatyam dancer. Actually, so we used to hang around at Good Luck, and he would come out from his Bharatanatyam dance with his ghungru on his legs as well. So, yeah, I think he had art in him somewhere. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
From our conversation, I can gauge that when it comes to setting goals, whether it is personal and professional, you are adept at it. So our youngsters would love to hear how you set your professional and personal goals and how do you pursue them.
I break it down from that fact. So it's more of short term versus long term. I guess it's not rocket science. I guess most of people done that, but it's very important to kind of have specifics down, right? What's a short term goal look like? For if I'm an organization, what does a short term goal look like? And what are the milestones that I would have to achieve while to kind of reach that stage? What kind of resources that I would need to kind of work towards to kind of achieve that as well? So if I give an example of let's say from an organization perspective, my organization, let's say, wanted to kind of grow revenues for that fiscal year by 10%, or for that matter, anything, right? Let's say, for example, if I want to achieve that goal, and how do I kind of achieve that? So I would look at where is the new business coming from? Is it organic versus going out and looking for new businesses? Then I kind of create a plan. Is looking at basically your clients, and how do I kind of upsell a lot of stuff that I have, and what are the resources that I need to do it, and I kind of put in a timeline to kind of achieve that. The same thing, if I'm doing a new business, I would look at the clients outside, put a target list, look at resources that can help me kind of do that, put in the right resources to work on pitching for new businesses and do that. So that's how I create my short-term goals. Again, having a timeline, milestone in places is what is important. If it's a long-term goal, I would say, if I talk about an organization, is making sure my organization is recognized as one of the most innovative agencies in the network, or for that matter, being ranked in the top 5. So it's a long-term process. It doesn't happen within a year or so, something. So you kind of put in a timeline. So if it's about innovation, you start building a culture of innovation in the organization, which is ground up actually. So make sure that everybody kind of is aligned towards that goal, tries to look at things differently, trying to bring creativity in that job, and then you start putting across into awards circuit and winning awards kind of thing, right? So we were at a time where we were not even recognized for that. We became one of the most awarded agency in the network and in the global network as well. Same again with the overall standings. I think we were started off with being at number 15 or so. The last I checked, we were number 5 in this. So it's a long-term process. So this is how we kind of look at those goals and kind of put milestones, put the right resources, do continuous checks in terms of where you stand as well. I think similar to onto the personal goals as well. Is more personal, I would say, is much more long-term for me, in the sense, looking at financial security, having a good healthy body and mind, making sure my daughter grows up well, being independent and having a very world view of things as well. So yeah, I think this is a very long-term process. So you just kind of keep checking all as we go on.
So Suvi, how would the world be without advertisements?
I'll be without a job to start with. No, really. I mean, I think it'll be very boring, isn't it? Imagine you consuming tons of content every day without any break as well. So I mean, these things, advertising actually runs your media channels, right? They rely on advertising support to kind of give you more information as well. So that's one of the basic support of media at large. So that's from a money perspective. The second thing is, for as a consumer, right, we won't know what to choose. Right, what advertising does is creates that awareness of a certain brand. It also tells you what are the attributes, or what is it, how is this brand different than the rest. Imagine you have, like, you go to a supermarket and you only find washing powders with just no name and nothing on the top of it. You won't know what you're buying, right? You would be in a situation where you would be buying a much more inferior product. What advertising does is basically tells you why this product is different than the others. Why is this product is superior than the others, right? It also helps you kind of have an informed knowledge. Some of them actually tells you what are the ingredients, so you make a very informed choice about why you're picking up that thing as well. So I think it plays a very important role as such, actually. So I think the definition of advertising has changed over a period of time. It's no longer when we started off, it was a 30-second commercials or a full-page ads in a newspaper or a radio jingle, right? I mean, as technologies evolved, a lot of other things come in. We are consuming much more media than what we used to before, and we're consuming different media than what we used to do before, right? I don't think a lot of people consume print anymore. Or for that matter, radio has gone down. Cinemas are pretty high. We consume a lot of digital media, so much so that more than half of your advertising spends is on digital. And digital again is a very vast thing, right? We talk about social media. We talk about your anything that you, even if you're searching anything on Google, your ads come up, or basically whatever you search is leading to a certain brand for that matter. So there's a lot more. It has changed. It has become much more dynamic. It has become much more real time as well. You would see a lot of things that we discuss right now, and the next moment you would see that popping up on your mobile phone as well. So there's a lot of things that has changed. A lot of science has come in, a lot of technology that has come in as well. So and it is integrated into our life today. So it's very important to have that as well.
Thank you for that, because it's our youngsters are consuming a lot of content from various media platforms. What could be your advice for them? How is it that they should be aware of what they are consuming?
So number one, there are a lot of these forwards that happen, right? I think one needs to be very curious and basically read up on the stuff. It's just not about this. I think it's important to kind of form your own opinion rather than believe in any of the forwards that's been sent across to you, be it anything, right? I mean, we see fake news that is happening everywhere, be it death of someone or some incident that happened in the world. We realize it's a fake news as well. I think we need to have that inherent desire to kind of go and Google up and find out the authenticity of such news as well. So it's very important to kind of create your own research, do your own research, and then base opinions on whatever that happens abroad, and not just blindly believe in any of these forwarded messages.
That's an important message for our youth, wherein you are focusing on analyzing, doing good research, and using your own critical thinking to analyze whether whatever the children are consuming is right.
Yeah.
Is it the right news or is it the fake news?
Absolutely.
Thank you for that bit, Suvi. So, Suvi, what are your fondest memories of school life? And is there any one particular place which you would like to revisit?
I mean, I'd like to revisit a lot of places. Listen, I mean, 10 years in the school, there are a lot of memories out there. I think one of the best memories that I still carry with me is when I was in the 10th grade. As I said, I was part of the school athletics team, and I used to go for marathons representing the school. I think I did that for 3 years, the 8th grade, 9th and the 10th grade in a row. So I used to go every year, and the first year, I think I just didn't finish this. I went for a 7-kilometer race and I didn't even finish the race. I think this is where, again, I keep saying Bhagdesh's role is important, right? He worked on my endurance, he worked on my stamina, he made sure I was good enough to kind of compete again. So next year I went, I barely finished as well. The 10th year, which is the last year that I was in the school, I participated. And I did much better. Actually, I was in a very good shape, and I finished my 7 kilometers race, and I came back home. I mean, like every year, I just finished and I came back home. So what happened next day is Hegde sir, who used to be my class teacher, he came in the in the first period, and then he did mention to the class that every year when we send our kids to the marathon race, the Colgate Palmolive cross country marathon. That's what it's used to call. Marathon race, and but this year there was someone who finished the race and came under 20, which is the first for the school. And then he just announced my name. I wasn't even aware that I did that. So he just announced my name, and the entire class stood and gave a standing ovation. I think that was my crowning glory at the school, actually. So that was a brilliant experience, and I still remember that very fondly. I keep telling to my daughter about these things, try to just amp my exposure there. But yeah, that's the fondest memory that I have. The places that I want to visit in the school, I think every campuses that I've been there, actually. I mean, so I want to visit that corner class in Ishar Pawan. I want to visit the class in Good Luck, where I got a hearing from But Sir. There used to be a long jump pit here. And I want to go back there, back in time, and probably just go there and practice again over there. And there was the other side, there was this school, the shaded school there. I want to go back there. I want to come back here to this structure. I think we were the first batch to be placed in this school, because that was the only ground floor that was there. And I think the 10th grade was the first to kind of move in our batch. So right opposite is where my classroom used to be, the second last bench. So I want to go back and visit there. Yeah, so I think it's very nostalgic again, coming back. As I said, I keep coming back to the school. But, just having this discussion brings back a lot of memories. And I think it's been a while that I actually spoke so much about the school memories as well.
Suvi, what is the one message that you have for our students?
I'll tell you what I was inspired with. Okay, this might sound a little weird, actually. So there used to be a Chinese cook, and he used to have a very popular cooking show called "If Yan Can Cook, So Can You." That stuck with me for life. And he was so humble. I mean, every time he used to cook, he used to make amazing stuff, right? He was, I don't know if there was a Michelin star, but he was a great chef. He was well known. And he would come and he would end up and say, listen, if I can cook, anybody can cook. He made it look so simple. It wasn't very intimidating, or wasn't look as if, it was such a big task. Any housewife or I don't know why I watched it, but I think those were the only channels that we used to watch. But it made look like so achievable, And I keep saying that to everyone. If Yan can cook, so can you. If I have done something, I think everybody can do it, right? So anybody can do that, because I think it is just using the skills that you have learned for a period of time and just apply it on your daily life. I keep saying, again, having a very healthy balance between work and life, having a very healthy body and mind, be updated, read a lot of stuff, work on your fitness. That's very important as well. And I think also would want to add about, look for support around you, because don't come to school and think it is only for education and you only talk to your teachers on academics as well. If you find the right comfort level, speak to your teachers about what is it that you want to achieve in life. What do you think you want to do? The teachers can help mold that for you, can help you, guide you, or move on to someone else who can help you with that bit as well. I was fortunate to kind of have that kind of mentors or leaders in my life when I was growing up, actually. So I would always say, look out for support, look out for people who can help you get the right guidance. And in today's generation, is so very important than what we went through, actually, because the kids exposed to so many things. They're confused about so much information that is being loaded up on them beyond academics as well, and it kind of shapes them into a completely different direction. Maybe it's right or wrong, it's debatable, but I think it's important to kind of channel those energies in the right and focus on what is it that you want to achieve in life, rather than believing in the noise around it actually.
That was wonderful, Suvi. Thank you for sharing all those sweet memories with us, and a big thank you for your precious time.
No, thank you for having me. As I really thoroughly enjoyed. I said, I haven't spoke about my school life in so much details. It brings back a lot of memories. It's nostalgic, and it's been an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.